We are back, and this week we are going to be making homemade bread, which sounds really challenging, but really isn't. I've been making this bread for several months now. This is a recipe I actually found on TikTok, and I tried it, and anytime you try a recipe that you find online that hasn't been vetted, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. There were definitely good things and things that needed tweaked, so I tweaked it a little bit and made it my own, and now we have it. And so it's super easy to make. You can use this bread for whatever you like to eat for sandwiches or sandwich related sort of meals. I use this bread for all kinds of sandwiches. It's very simple for like peanut butter and jelly, makes a great grilled cheese. You can eat it with any type of turkey sandwich. That you need a nice soft sandwich bread. I also make sourdough bread, but this is more of like that soft bread. The crust is not super hard, so it's great for kids. If your kids are picky about the crust like mine are, this is a crust I'll actually eat because they can chew it, and it only has 6 ingredients, and it doesn't take that long either. It does have a little bit of a time to rise, but other than that, this isn't something you're going to be babysitting for days on end. Let's get started. The first thing I'm going to share with you is the ingredients you need to make this recipe. The first thing you need is you need bread flour. I like farm to flour organic bread flour. That's what I have here. I also like using Kirkland bread flour or King Arthur bread flour, all great ones. Today we're going to be using farm to flour. You need honey or sugar. I like honey personally. You need some water, just plain water. I use filtered water for this. You need 2 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 tablespoon of yeast. This is instant yeast, and then you need some salt. That's it. Okay, the equipment you need for today. You do need 2 bread pans. This is a recipe that makes 2 loaves of sandwich bread. So I have these stainless steel bread pans that I got on Amazon. I find that this recipe is much easier to make if you have a stand mixer. I use my KitchenAid mixer with the dough hook for this. You can knead it by hand, but it is easier to do it with a KitchenAid mixer. I have a pastry scraper and a more pliable pastry scraper. This one I use to cut my bread when I am getting ready to shape it, and this one I use to get all of the extra dough off of the sides of the bowl. And the final thing is that if you are baking, I highly recommend a food scale. Baking in grams is much more reliable than baking in cups. So I tend to use a food scale anytime I'm baking, especially with my flour or dry ingredients. And then you don't have to measure using measuring cups. It's just way simpler. So I highly recommend you get one of these. The other 2 things you'll need is a towel to cover your yeast when it's activating, and then one of these, which is a shower cap. And I use this to cover my bread when it's rising. You can use a towel. I really like these. I was using plastic wrap, but these are so much easier. And you can get a pack of 100 for like $8 on Amazon. So these are good to have on hand as well. Okay, so here we are, and we are going to start with some yeast. This is 1 tablespoon of yeast. It's going to go right here in our bowl. We are going to put in our 2 cups of water. Okay. And finally, we are going to do a 1/4 cup of honey. I don't measure this, which I literally just told you to measure with a scale, but I don't find that to be as big of a case with the honey. So I'm going to do just about 1, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons, or a 1/4 cup. Now, from here, we are going to get the process going. We're going to use a whisk and mix it around until it's a nice milky color. You can see it's a little foamy on top. You're going to smell a really delicious smell of yeast, a delicious smell of honey. It smells really good. So we're going to let this sit covered for 5 minutes. All right, it's been 5 minutes, and here we are. We can see that everything looks super foamy. You can tell that the yeast has been activated. That's what you want it to look like. So now we are going to add in the remainder of our ingredients. We're going to start with getting our food scale. All flours are a little bit different, and the more you make bread, the more you'll be able to see if you need to add more flour or not. So right now we're going to start with the base of this recipe, which sounds like a lot, but it's 700 grams of bread flour. Now here's our salt, 2 teaspoons, butter. It's going to go right on top. Okay, we're going to pull our KitchenAid mixer out. We are going to put the dough hook on. Click this into place. My mixer is a little old, so it has some nuts and bolts that need to be tightened. Okay. We're going to lock it, and we're going to basically just mix this until we start to see it come together in a ball. On low. It'll take a few minutes. Now, as you can see, it's come together quite nicely. The dough is sticky, so you will want to add in some flour whenever you are kneading it in the next step. But for now, we're going to let this rise. So here is I'm going to use my pastry scraper to get as much of this off the sides as possible. Off of here, move this back. And here we have our dough ball. It's going to go right here. We're going to get our shower cap and we're going to put that right over top of here. Now we're going to let this rise and we're going to let it double. It may take an hour. It may take 2 hours. It won't take all day, but it'll take a little bit of time. The warmer your kitchen is, the faster it will happen. Okay, so this is where my audio decided to cut. So I did a voiceover so that I could tell you what I'm doing here. So this is where I'm going to be doing some shaping of the bread. I put down some flour onto my cutting board. Okay, so we are just going to have a fold and pull technique. This is similar to what you do with sourdough. And then you're going to roll it up into a burrito. Try and make the ends look as nice as you can. It's not going to be perfect, but it's for sandwich bread, so it's not the end of the world. I like to use the bench scraper just to kind of make it look even a little bit nicer. And then it's going to go right into our buttered pan and it's going to be ready to go. I've done many things since I left this for a while, much longer than I should have, but it's a super forgiving recipe. But as you can see, it's very well risen at this point. So we have 2 of these that I'm preheating the oven to 350 degrees and they're going to go in for 30 minutes. Time to go in the oven for 30 minutes. Okay, so since the bread is baking and I can't cut it right away because it needs time to cool, I'm going to cut the loaf that I made and froze last week to show you what it looks like. We're going to use this guy to cut a nice piece and show you what it looks like. Perfect sandwich bread. Delicious. And this one has been stored for, well, I baked it last week. It makes 2, as you know, as you saw. It makes 2, and then we eat 1, and then I freeze 1. So now that I have this, these 2 will probably go in the freezer for next week. And someday I'll do a whole day of baking so I can just bake for an entire month. Not that it takes that long, because it really doesn't. Here, now you could make a delicious sandwich with this bread. See? Perfect. Perfect sandwich bread. Time for a reveal. And there they are, the lovely bread. They were slightly overproofed because I had to leave for like 2 hours. They still look pretty good. Here we go. Here's my favorite step of the whole process. We're gonna butter the tops, okay? A little bit of butter. Just gonna use it right off the stick to make it easier. This is just gonna put this on top like this. Okay, there we go. Yummy. We're gonna let these cool in the pan for a little bit so that they are able to actually take them out without it being, a little more butter, without it being totally burning my hand. So that's it. This whole process, I bet, takes no more than 3 hours max. And obviously you can leave for 2 hours or however long I did and come back and they're still able to be baked and taste delicious. And now I have 2 loaves of bread that have 6 ingredients, which is the best part of this. Great texture. They last all week. I usually keep mine wrapped either in like beeswax or bees wrap in like a plastic bag, or I'll do plastic wrap, which I would prefer to do beeswax or bees wrap. Either way, they last for about a week. Haven't had any issues with storing it. I store it at room temperature. So this recipe will be live. You can print it out and give it a try. And if you try it, let me know how you like it. And I hope you do try it and enjoy. Thanks for watching. See you next time.